Banner Bank presents Varsity Sports exclusively on Comcast On Demand.
Trojans and Eagles gone. North Central and Mount Vernon move on. Round 2 from the state 3A finals. It's the North Central Indians coming in against the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. Like I said, these two teams victors in round 1 and are on to round 2. It's two teams from two leagues in which they play the 3A, the 2A, and in North Central's version, the 4A teams. So the records may not mean a lot, but tonight we'll see who is the better of the two and a chance for the state semifinals.
Unlimited check writing. Premium tiered interest checking accounts, free online banking and bill pay, 24-hour Banner Bank by phone, free checking, no Banner Bank service charge for using any ATM. You know, what's impressive about a Banner Bank checking account isn't necessarily the number of features, but how well they come together.
Welcome back to Heck Ed Arena, the Bank of America Arena here at UW. And as I mentioned, these two teams coming from one of those leagues that doesn't play the entire 3A all in the same bracket. In fact, the Northwest Conference features teams like Linden, obviously Mount Vernon, Squalicom, Mount Baker, Burlington, Edison, and out of Cornice. And a lot of teams that are doing very well in the state playoffs right now. Mount Vernon with a big win over the Auburn Trojans in overtime yesterday. Move on to take on the North Central Indians from out of Spokane and the Greater Spokane League, a league made up of mostly 4A teams, just 3 3A squads, and North Central the only team left to play. Let's get to the starting lineups now. And a reminder, today's game is brought to you by Banner Bank, proud sponsor of every young adult who gives everything they've got on and off the court. Thanks for making us proud. Mount Vernon Bulldogs are led by Jeremy Juarez. Number 10 averages over 20 points a game. He can really play. Number 3, Mike Caswell. Ray Walzer, the sophomore, 6'3". Torrance Bayless, a real athlete on the boards and defender. And Eric Jensen, the 6'6" junior. Over to the Indians now from out of Spokane, Washington. Number 11, Boone Plager, the senior guard. Number 13, Javier Grigsby, another athlete, great defender. Nick Raijan, number 21, the team's leading scorer. Cody Howenstein, number 33, an inside-outside guy. And Justin Anderson, 6'7" post on the interior. We'll take a quick break here, but be right back. You're watching Varsity Sports on Comcast On Demand.
This month on Comcast On Demand, it's back. The Bite of Seattle. Rock out with your favorite original artists and check out backstage interviews with your exclusive VIP pass. Laugh until it hurts as local comedians perform their comedy shtick. And be amazed by the wild and wacky talents of your fellow Northwesterners. Local music, comedy, and talent. More examples of what's available to you free on demand exclusively on Comcast Digital Cable.
Second round of action already underway today as two teams have notched berths into the state semifinals. Mount Vernon and North Central trying to be the third team on the day. Well, O'Day took out Rainier Beach in game 1, a low-scoring ball game in which Beach was not in double figures about 2/3 of the way through the second quarter and into the second half. Is just an abysmal offensive effort until the end. Put a little run on. Mount Rainier fought back, but in the end, taken out by Southridge. So O'Day and Southridge on to the top of the bracket semifinals. North Central or Mount Vernon will take on Bellevue or Bainbridge in the bottom. I think if you had asked North Central at the start of the year when they put together a GSL record of 4-16. Would they have a chance to go to the state semifinals? There may not have been a lot of people around the state that would have agreed that they'd be at this place right now with this opportunity. And they win the tip. Indians in the maroon, the Mount Vernon Bulldogs in the white and green. Grigsby with it and up to Rajan, number 21. Rajan, the leading scorer on the team with a big game yesterday. Grigsby to the bucket, no good. He's an athlete, a guy that's going to look to slash. And this North Central team, a team that likes to go in and out, but they got some formidable three-point shooters as well. Lawrence Bayless gives up the shooter, Caswell. And Caswell and company on the board first. Mike Caswell, really a shooter primarily. Get out there and defend as well. Good height at 6'3" for a shooting guard, the junior. Here come the Indians. Rajan from the corner. And anything you can do, I can do better. And better by a point. Down the lane. And Juarez has it blocked out of bounds. Jeremy Juarez, where he goes, Mount Vernon follows. 20 points plus a game. And he can really score inside and outside. And people around the team say his first step right up there atop some of the best players in the state. Minute gone here. Juarez will step out, try a three. Rims out. And rebound, Boone Plager. And he'll run it up. Looks cross court to Grigsby. Has it picked away. Juarez on the break. Ball tipped alive and Mount Vernon recovers. Caswell will try the three. And you cannot leave a shooter wide open opportunities. And coaches like to say offensive rebounds the best chance in the ball game to get off a good three. One, the shooter has a chance to set up and balance himself as that pass comes out to him. And two, everybody's down under the hoop. Leaves Caswell open there. Caswell now on the drive. Finds Ray Walzer. Bulldogs led by Tori Swanson, taking over for a just dominant head coach in the history of Mount Vernon. We'll get to that later. And Mount Vernon certainly does have a formidable history. Justin Anderson clears the board. And North Central, one of the best rebounding teams in this state tournament. Through game one, they are the best. Howenstein tries the three, no good. Man-to-man from both teams. North Central used to playing some of the top teams in the state. In fact, they took on Ferris twice this season. Had a difficult time with them as a lot of 4A teams did in the GSL and into state. Well, I'm joined now for a little precursor to the next game tonight by Scott Ornis in his 6th year out of Bainbridge High School. First of all, Scott, thanks a lot for joining us here.
Absolutely.
And
it's a pleasure to be
you know, a
here.
good chance for you to see a possible opponent if, in fact, you're able to get through Bellevue in the next game.
Yeah, right now we're focused on Bellevue, but both these teams had nice games yesterday, especially the Mount Vernon game. Very exciting high school basketball for sure.
And there have been a lot of really exciting games throughout the tournament. Yours, maybe not so exciting from yesterday, I'm sure. Felt great to get that first win on the board.
Yeah, you know, it's a funny game, and I was a little nervous at the beginning yesterday, but our kids responded real well, and we're patient and sped the game up a little bit, especially on defense.
Now, we've seen a lot of teams in this tourney, teams like Southridge and O'Day, who are led by their defense, and obviously you guys last night not giving up a point in the first half. Have to be, you know, exceptionally pleased with how well your team's playing on the defensive end right now.
Yeah, it's something that we take a lot of pride on. You know, something that we knew we had to kind of button up after last season, and the great teams that make it far into the tournament play great D. So it's something the kids have really taken on and made their own, and something we plan on continuing to do tonight.
Mount Vernon has some trouble on the defensive end with North Central. They're out to a 4-point lead in this one. And you hate to kind of get ahead of yourselves, but with this game still underway and, a chance starting to build pressure and, build a little bit more momentum into the final rounds of it, I guess what have you seen from these two teams on the court that has impressed you from each? Start with Mount Vernon and that big win over Auburn yesterday.
Well, Mount Vernon's coach, they have a great coaching staff in Toy Swanson, and they got Mac Frazier as well as a few other veteran coaches. And so, they're going to come with a great game plan, and their kids are going to execute well and play hard. So they've got a great point guard, and they run their sets well. And you got to come to play against them. North Central, I actually didn't get a chance to watch yesterday, but we got video and some good notes on them.
And you can check out a few of their games on Comcast On Demand from earlier this season in the GSL. A little shameless plug.
All right.
As Juarez gets the offense started for Mount Vernon once again, and they penetrate and kick. A little short corner jumper from number 44, Eric Jensen. And one thing that these two teams have is good post play and really one good interior post. And then from there, a lot of perimeter action, much to be expected.
Yeah, it's hard to find teams with more than one good big these days. A lot of teams are going with 4 guards around one big, and not that bigs are hard to come by, but the guard play these days is so tough.
So Jensen and Justin Anderson, a good matchup in this one. In the Bellevue Bainbridge game tonight, got a pretty good big in your own, Gibbler, taking on a guy by the name of Sigma that some people may have heard around here.
Yeah, both of them outstanding high school basketball players, cousins actually, so they spend a lot of holidays together, but during our 32 minutes, I doubt if they'll be having a lot of fun together. They'll be battling.
Not a lot of hugs, huh? 3:55 left in the first quarter here, and Mount Vernon trying to battle back, still down 4. Drive underneath, blocked away by Justin Anderson. Eric Jensen thought he had something inside. Here comes Grigsby. And it's blocked right back. Juarez on the break. Wisely slows up. And Caswell will try another 3. Cleared by Howenstein. He had double-figure rebounds in yesterday's game. So, Coach, try if you can to put, an importance of your inside-outside kind of percentage in the game. It seems like so many teams, when reliant on just one aspect of their game, if that's stopped, they're done.
Yeah, our goal is to shoot between 80 and 90% of our shots actually in the key within 10 feet of the basket. But, it doesn't always work that way, and it's not always our big guys doing it. We've got nice big guards as well that can slash and also post up, and we look for opportunities to get Gray and Fling the ball inside, and both of them can finish well. But no, having Kobe Gibbler and Austin Wood both inside, it really sucks the defense down, and they're able to kick out to our guards for some nice open shots.
Justin Anderson got a little deflection on that shot. And here comes North Central again on the penetration. And we're up about 4 or 5 blocks already in this game. Both teams swatting shots. And Mount Vernon on the break. Eric Jensen on the board. 2:30 left in the first quarter of play. And the defensive pressure begins to mount. Mount Vernon had to travel a ways to get here to the Heck Ed Pavilion for this tournament, but they traveled quite a few fans.
Well, they've got a real deep basketball tradition in Mount Vernon, that's for sure. Some of the best teams around the area and one of the best programs overall in this state. But it's good to see him back, the Mount Vernon team back at the state tournament. A
team that went to 4A for a while and back down to 3A this season. They've got 3 state titles in the 3A classification, which they used to be in, 91, 92, and 01. Well, Coach, for you guys, coaching staff and players, obviously, it's been a little while since you guys have made your way to a state tournament. How's the team and how's your staff responding to that?
Well, as a staff, when my father and I were at Franklin Pierce High School, the 2 years I coached with them there, we were able to make the state tournament. Had the unlucky draw of Rainier Beach High School in the first 2 years there, and got beat both times and knocked out in the second day as well. And then I had the opportunity to coach with John Wetterauer at Puyallup High School, and we made the state tournament that year. And so coming to Bainbridge is something that I expected we'd be able to do, and it's taken a little time, but we're back, which is great.
and it has been a rising program since you've taken over. In your 6th year, and it seems like every year it's gotten better and better and better. Last year, you talk about running up against a Rainier Beach. Last year, ran up against Franklin, and that's never going to be easy to do.
No, that league, the Metro League, just makes you tough. It really does. And it took the first 2 years when I was at Bainbridge, it was really just an adjustment time period where we had to kind of get over being intimidated and understand that we can play with these guys. And, we worked hard, and the kids put a lot of time in, and it's paid off for them. So I'm just real proud of their efforts.
Rajon on the drive, turns it over. North Central still leads by 3 with 26 seconds left to go. Coach, you talk about Metro League being so tough. I mean, in the recent history, just 2 teams from out of the Metro League have won a state title the last decade. And Mount Vernon was one to do it. And, for them to come in 2001 and perform so well, and you look at the teams that they had to beat, O'Day, Seattle Prep, Mercer Island, and then Rainier Beach. And certainly the road goes through the Metro League. Already you got O'Day into the semifinals. You got to take some pride, certainly, out of being from such a tough league.
Absolutely. The toughest thing playing in that league is getting out of that league into the state tournament. And last year we were on the short end of the stick, being eliminated by O'Day. But Chief South is the team this year, outstanding team, great coaching staff, and they came 1 game short of it as well. But once you get here, you're definitely ready to play state tournament basketball.
14-11 at the end of the first quarter. Coach Ornis, if you'd stick around for just a little bit of this second quarter, we'll be back in just a few moments. You're watching Varsity Sports on Comcast On Demand.
Loans. They're not all that mysterious, especially when you work with people who know them inside and out, know how to cut through the red tape and streamline the paperwork. Sooner or later, you figure it out. That every single loan Banner Bank has to offer fits your life perfectly.
Casco with it. He takes it to the rack, and D'Angelo Casco with the slam. Go get it! That one count.
The Varsity News, throwing down every Wednesday night exclusively on Comcast On Demand.
Welcome back here, second quarter underway. And we're just discussing a little bit of Bainbridge and their living situations over this week. Staying in Seattle at the hotel. These 2 teams on the floor, Mount Vernon and North Central, obviously from Spokane, is staying overnight here. Mount Vernon as well. And you think that's an advantage for you guys? In some cases, it's a distraction, but in some cases, certainly, you've only got one focus.
Yeah, I think it's an advantage. It's a little bit out of the routine, but just being at the state tournament, there's a lot of things that are out of your routine, your normal routine, that is. But no, we can focus on the game. We can do a few study sessions academically as well as for basketball and prepare for the next game.
Rajon short on the 3, but picks it away and rolls out of bounds. Well, Coach, I want to let you get back to your team. Obviously, you guys have a big game. Taking on the winner of this game tonight and taking on Bellevue tonight.
All right, well, thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Absolutely. Thanks once again for coming up here. And that is Scott Ornis, head coach of the Bainbridge Spartans, arguably the leader and first number 1 candidates to take home a state title in 3A this season. Well, these 2 teams want to be spoilers against Bainbridge if Bainbridge is able to get through their battle tonight with the Bellevue Wolverines. And right now, a lot on these 2 teams' mind and a lot ahead of that Bainbridge possible matchup. We're about a minute gone here in the second quarter, and the story thus far has been some shy shooting from these 2 teams, working the ball around well, a few turnovers here and there, 3 for North Central and 2 for Mount Vernon, but just 5 for 17 shooting for the Bulldogs and 5 for 12 for the Indians. 1 of 2 from the line and a 2-point game. The Indians on top. DJ Scott, number 25 for North Central, along with Cody Swinemson in for the first time today. And Rajan right to the 10, nobody there to stop him. That's just too easy. Get around your man, no backside help. Coach Swanson can't be happy with that. Eric Jensen steps out, and now to Juarez. Starters on the floor for Mount Vernon, with the exception of Cam Taylor into the lineup. And Jeremy Juarez and Caswell, right now the 2 leaders in scoring for Mount Vernon. Rajan with the pick. And he'll try the 3. Coast to coast for the triple. Rajan now with 13 points, and he is hot in the first half. Only 4 points for Grigsby and 2 for Hauenstein. And that is it for the Indians. So it's been a Rajan story in the first half here. And here he is with it once again. Nice for your point guard, a guy who's going to be handling it most of the night, to be with the hot touch. Wide open pass in the paint and a travel. Corey Swenemson with a nice cut, but couldn't finish. He walked with it. .5:23 left in the first half of play. Juarez yet to heat up. He's 0 for 6 on the night, the leading scorer for the Bulldogs. Caswell has played well, and that one rims out. Would have been a chance for 3. Instead, Caswell, the shooter, an excellent free throw shooter from the line. Well, yesterday, 2 great games played by North Central and by Mount Vernon. North Central, the earlier in the day, victory over Hudson's Bay of Vancouver. Up 13-8 at the end of the first quarter, much like tonight, before Hudson's Bay battled back in that game. And North Central trailed it a few points. And we'll see if Mount Vernon can battle back here in similar fashion. Mount Vernon down in yesterday's game against the Auburn Trojans. And it was their comeback that set up an exceptional finish. Actually went into overtime. And a back and forth game, finally won at the buzzer. Final score of that one, 67-66. Much higher scoring game than the Hudson Bay North Central game, which finished 42-39. 5-point lead here for North Central as they work the man-to-man offense. And the Mount Vernon D really picks up. People around the team have said that is certainly where they make their points on the defensive end. A good stop there. Team that's going to turn D to O. And they'll look to do that by turning teams over and really just getting good stops on the defensive end. They're not going to outscore anybody, but they will out-defend. Caswell to Juarez on the drive. Little stutter step. And had that one blocked. Hauenstein couldn't snag the rebound, but another block. Third block of the game for North Central. And a walk. Jeremy Juarez, coming into this game, led the entire tournament with 3-point percentage. He hit 4 threes yesterday and only missed on 1, giving him 80% from behind the arc, and he just dominated that game, finished with 22 points. But right now, he has yet to get anything going. Just 1 point in the game. Juarez, can he answer? Well, the question came, and he did bring the answer. That's 3 now. cleanly played game so far. Just 2 team fouls apiece. Rajan, great pump fake, got his defender up and went in to twickle the twine. 5-point lead for North Central. We're down to the 3-minute mark approaching. Juarez, great dish, but Hauenstein from behind. Another block from the Indians. And of course, the "You got swatted" chant rains down for a moment. North Central, it's about a 4.5-hour drive from Spokane, but they've traveled a good 30 people, 30 students. Obviously family and friends as well. 2:48 on the ticker. Hauenstein, a guy that can really heat up from behind the arc. He had 5 threes in the GSL championship game against Mount Spokane. And we got a foul underneath. Justin Anderson, the real lone big guy for the Indians, picks up a tic-tac foul. 3rd team foul on North Central. And his 2nd foul, not a good place to pick that up. So I was mentioning Hauenstein, 5 threes in a game earlier this season. Yesterday, however, 0 for 8. But funny enough, he hit 6 for 6 from the free throw line, so it's been up and down, but they could definitely, the Indians, use his shooting. Inside to Eric Jensen, no good. 2:22 on the clock. And it feels like it's been a 5-point lead for the entire first half. That's where it is now. North Central really can't extend that lead. Whenever they score, Mount Vernon comes back with a nice bucket of their own. Rajan looking in the post. Good D from Eric Jensen. So it does it himself. 17 points for Nick Rajan. And the athletic Torrance Bayless comes back. He'll earn a spot to the line. And his first attempts from the free throw line in today's game. Bayless went 4 for 10 from the line yesterday. Able to put up 10 points in the game, but certainly not a sharpshooter from that charity stripe. It's not charity for him. And right now just needs that confidence. He's got a good stroke, so it's really not a matter of that or a poor shooter. But 0 for 2 to start this game. North Central now, a little half-court pressure. They like that 2-2-1 zone as they move back into man-to-man. Mount Vernon, a little pressure they expect to put on in almost every game. And a nice duck to the hoop. Boone Plager with his new look scoring action right there. Not a real scorer, more of the composer for the North Central offense. But he gets on the board there, and Juarez tries to answer. Foul on Grigsby. 4 blocks in the first half for North Central. And very impressive when you look at the height that these guys possess. 6'7", their biggest player, in Justin Anderson. But after that, Hauenstein's only 6'3", so it's not like they're doing it with height or length. But in fact, just exceptional timing on the shot blocking. 25-16, and Mount Vernon continues to be cold from the free throw line, where they're 3 for 6, 50% in the game. And Juarez may have a bit of blood on his jersey. It looks like it. So on one hand, you got your lead scorer going to the bench. On the other hand, you got to pick the free throw shooter to come in and knock these down. And the man elected is Cam Taylor. Taylor averaging just about 2.6 points a game, so not going to fill up the nets. And short on that one, a little short, no legs. Scrum for the ball, Rajan comes up with it. North Central just looks very composed out there. A well-coached team by Jay Weber. And their offensive execution, mainly due to Nick Ryjon's hot scoring touch, has been exceptional. They lead by 9. We're under a minute in the first half. Left to go. Plager gives to Ryjon. And he's defended by Cam Taylor, the 6'2 junior. A young team, Mount Vernon, with Juarez the senior and mainly everybody else just juniors. Ryjon under 30 seconds now, down to 25. A little trap, but Ryjon easily breaks it. Down to 15 seconds now. North Central gotta go. You want to give yourself time for an offensive rebound if in fact you miss. Down to 10 ticks. And there's a foul. A lot of yelling going on from Tori Swanson on the sideline. Should be pleased. Good defensive job, and the foul there comes with their opponents not in the bonus. Just 5 team fouls on North Central and just 3 on Mount Vernon. So they got fouls to give. They surely don't want to get their starters in foul trouble. But at this point, you could keep fouling here. Here's the 3. And the shot no good. Time for a rebound. Ryjon, the putback. And that's what I'm talking about with the execution. Give your team a chance for an offensive board. And the score, Nick Ryjon with 19 points in the first half of play. And the North Central Indians lead 27-16. And looking for a spot in the state semifinal round. You're watching Varsity Sports on Comcast On Demand. We'll be back with some halftime analysis after the break.
Truth be told, you'll do whatever it takes. You'll go all out. Let's be honest. You live to compete and you love to win.
Yeah, let's go, man. What time is it? Game time. Let's go. Let's do this right here, right now. Let's go.
But win or lose, you're stronger for playing the game.
Production assistance provided by GameTapes.com. Get all the action from Washington State basketball and football finals, past and present, on DVD at GameTapes.com. All the action, all the angles, GameTapes.com.
The Mount Vernon crowd and cheer squad getting into it at halftime here. Their Bulldogs trail by a score of 16-27 to the North Central Indians. But they don't seem to mind. Just loving it out there. Well, the first half, really a story of Nick Ryjon with the hot shooting touch. 7 for 10 from the field, including 3 for 4 from behind the arc. He's got 19 points. The defense wasn't too bad from the Indians as well, as they put up 4 blocks. And one of the best rebounding teams in the entire tournament. They had 45 rebounds in yesterday's game against Hudson Bay to lead all teams in their first round games. They have 18 through the first half here. Mount Vernon, tough time getting open shots for their leading scorer, Jeremy Juarez. He's 1 for 8 with just 3 points. Jensen has 6, Caswell has 7, and Mount Vernon down 11 points. Those stats are brought to you by Banner Bank. Better ideas, better banking. Well, the halftime story, Tori Swanson will be in there trying to find some better ideas for his team as they trail by 11. You're watching Varsity Sports on Comcast On Demand. Second half coming up next.
Beacon Plumbing is a customer of Banner Bank, and you just might see them doing a little pipe work at Cozy Kennels. Now, Cozy Kennels has quite a few satisfied customers, one being Mike Nelson, who lives in Portland in an Arbor home. Financed by CFC, also a part of Banner Bank. And when Mike heads to Tri-Cities every summer, he might spot that hydroplane sponsored by, you guessed it, Beacon Plumbing. It just goes to show we're all in some way connected to the same bank.
Mount Vernon down by 11. Second half on the way. Nick Ryjon with 19 points, lead candidate for player of the game thus far, but a lot of time left to go. Specifically 16 minutes And Rajon and company will start us off in the second half of play. Refreshments have been served. Both teams back out and ready to show what they got. One half of basketball and a chance to be in the state semifinals. Grigsby. And early pressure from Mount Vernon. You can bet that Tori Swanson was peeling the paint off the locker room at halftime. And the focus was defense. Trap evaded. Hallenstein threw it right away. Bayless came up with the pick. And here comes Mount Vernon. Looks to go inside. They're a team that really led by their guard play. When they can, they'll get the ball into the paint, but it's just a byproduct usually off the penetration. And there's a perfect example right there. Eric Jensen with a nice little jumper, but it's off guard penetration that he gets open. Hallenstein snags down another rebound. And he's got 5 in the game. Looking for double figures. Rajon, nice look underneath. Foul call. Justin Anderson with a good post up. And in fact, touched out of bounds, no foul. Almost a turnover. Grigsby comes up with it. And North Central has got to be careful here. Mount Vernon is poised for a run. But Grigsby turns that right around, extends the lead out to 13. Mount Vernon out-rebounded in the first half. The total now is 19-12. And most of that just based on shooting. It's a little jumper from Juarez as he looks like he might have the touch going. Got a great 1 and 2 dribble pull-up move. And it's just a matter of finding the gap in the D to get it off. Grigsby. No use of the glass, no need. Approaching the 6-minute mark in the third quarter. North Central still looking poised as their defense has been exceptional in this game. Juarez, nice right through the D. And he quickly ups his tally to 7. And there's a turnover. So there's no question that Mount Vernon has picked up their defensive intensity. And they're utilizing that half-court trap. Not going to extend it really into a full-court game, but once you get across the timeline, you got 2 men running right at you with their hands in the air. Juarez on the drive, great step through, couldn't score it. And Justin Anderson may have gotten away from a little walk. Here's Plager. Starters on the floor for both teams. With 5:15 left in the third. And an offensive foul. Boone Plager called for that left hand. Just got it right around the hip of the defender. And little swim move doesn't work in hoops, so offensive foul. Player control. That's Plager's first foul in the game. Still an 11-point advantage for North Central. Juarez, quick first step, goes right around Plager, and he was never able to catch up. Juarez up to 9 now in the lead, 9 as well. Rajon. Turned it over, lucky to get away with no offensive foul after the play. Juarez has it stolen right away. Grigsby with cookies and the cream. No, Hallenstein with the board though. And it's rejected out of bounds. .4:22 left to go. Crowd getting into it from Mount Vernon as they travel in good numbers. And here's Grigsby. It's the high pick. Rajon will take a deep three. And he had Grigsby open on the cut down the lane. A little bit of a force there. I know Rajon is hot, but after the break, sometimes it takes a little while to get that heat going again. Hasn't scored in the second half. Here's Bayless. Caswell started the game well. Sense hasn't gotten a lot off. Mount Vernon from the Northwest Conference, in which they finished second to Linden. And believe it or not, North Central from the GSL, in which they finished dead last. Well, not looking like it here, looking like one of the state's best 3A teams as they take on Mount Vernon and are pushing them to their limits. Offensive rebound gives the Bulldogs a second opportunity. And a step out. Eric Jensen will try the three. And they'll set it up again. The North Central, a great rebounding team, but twice in a row gives up an offensive board. And part of that, the long shots will give a longer rebound, easier for the offense to get on the glass. Patient offense. Not the stall we saw from North Thurston yesterday in their game against Bainbridge. This more of patience than anything else. Walzer kicks to Caswell. Got himself in the air. Luckily had Juarez to bail him out. And does he ever? A deep two. Toe on the line. And Juarez with 11 now. Grigsby kicks to Rajon. Down the lane. He'll pull it out for something better. And the kick, Justin Anderson. Anderson, a guy who transferred to North Central his freshman year. He was 6'2" that season. Now 6'7", and he's been coming up very big for North Central on the season. Earlier this year had a 22-14 game against Rogers in one of those 4 wins in the GSL. And he's a guy that gives North Central an added dimension and compliments guys like Rajon. Nick Rajon is 4 for 5 from the three-point arc. Check that, 4 for 6 from the three-point arc in the game. There's the answer. A 3 from Walzer, his first of the game. And just like that, the intensity level just stepped up about a notch. 1:24 left in the third quarter. And here's where the state tournament gets fun. Crowd getting into it. Intensity going. Blood pulsing through your veins. We'll see who's got the cool head and who will prevail. Subs back into the game. Eric Jensen and Ray Walzer will take a break, along with Juarez, who may be having a little bit more ordeal with that blood. And just like that, Ray Walzer is forced to come back in for Juarez. On the floor for North Central is DJ Scott checking in. He'll take out the inbound. Plager and as well Rajon and Anderson still in, and Corey Swenimson, the 6'3" senior, has checked back into the game too. Pause for a moment as the women's scores are announced to the crowd here. Mount Vernon made the women's tournament as well, and that's a great little comeback story for them as they make an effort to get back to a power that their men's team has certainly been in recent years. And that team is actually, interestingly enough, coached in part by Mac Frazier. Mac Frazier, a guy who put together state titles with his Mount Vernon men's team back in 91, 92, and 2001. So he took a little time off, decided he wanted to get back into it, started helping out with the women's team out of Mount Vernon and has slowly brought them back. Apparently, they've run off 10 of 12 wins to make it to the tournament. I think they were knocked down by Chief Self in the women's tournament, but a good run nonetheless for the Bulldogs women's team. We're down under a minute now in the third quarter of play. North Central out with a 9-point lead, and the Bulldogs trying to cut that down. Jeremy Gordon on the floor. He's got it there. Caswell looks to run some clock, drives right off the glass. Bayless, great rebound, no good on the putback though. And 32 seconds remaining. Caswell on the drive, and we got a foul before the shot. Ben Scott, the senior, was just thrown to the ground. And I'll see who the foul is on. I think it's Nick Rijon, a guy that North Central cannot afford to get into foul trouble. That's just the first, though, on Rijon. Anderson will check out of the game with his 2 fouls. Doesn't want to pick up another at the end of the third here. 29.3 on the clock. Jeremy Juarez is getting taped up on the sideline, trying to steady that bloodstream he's been having some difficulties with, and forced him to leave the game twice now. So it's going to be Caswell here to handle it. 10 ticks to go. Bayless on the drive, tries the short corner shot. Hauenstein, great rebound. Still 3 seconds. Rijon has time. Whew, almost hit the half-court runner. So Rijon and company lead 36-27. Do the Mount Vernon Bulldogs have a run in them? We'll see after this break. Fourth quarter coming. You're watching Varsity Sports on Comcast On Demand.
This is Dan Santos, who works with Banner Bank customer Long Painting, which painted Portland St. John's Bridge. Whenever Dan needs help with his truck, he calls Tim Phillips, Banner customer and owner of B&B Auto Parts. Now every morning, Tim picks up his latte from Danny Cohn at Seattle's Fuel Coffee, which is the latte of choice of Dan Santos. It just goes to prove we're all in some way connected to the same bank.
Welcome back to Heck Ed Pavilion, host of the 3A Guys Tournament here. It's also going to be host to the semifinals of the women's tournament. The top of the bracket set in the men's with O'Day taking on Southridge. Top of the bracket set up for the women as well, and that will be hosted here at Heck Ed. It's Auburn Riverside taking on Meadowdale. Bottom of both brackets yet to be determined. Little jumper from the corner. Eric Jensen, no good. Fight for the board, and we got a foul. And it's going to go on the Bulldogs. That's a tough call, and it's going to go against Ray Walzer. And talking about those semifinals, along with this game and a number of state tournament games from 3A and 4A, all 4 semifinals from the men's and women's game will be played here on Friday and will be available on Comcast On Demand, as well as DVD copies at www.gametapes.com. Rijon done an exceptional job of breaking that trap himself with a little bit of help from Plager and company. And here is Boone Plager, the 5'10 senior, gives to Nick Rijon. Rijon, just a junior, he'll be back for another year next season. DJ Scott with the ball, he'll be back for another term as well. Minute gone in the fourth quarter. 7 minutes left to go. Mount Vernon down 9. They're going to have to put a run together. Juarez is back on the floor, so they've got offense out there to do it. Foul up high. Third team foul on Mount Vernon. First foul on Caswell. And check that. Just changed there. Fourth team foul for Mount Vernon. 3 more to go till the bonus. Well, Nick Rijon on fire in this game. Gives to Hauenstein. And Justin Anderson with the board. Kicks to Rijon, and it rims out. And Rajan smartly waits for a better opportunity than the second three opportunity. And there's the turnover. Bayless on the break. North Central is going to have to weather a storm if they want to take this one. Mount Vernon is coming. Juarez with the steal. 1-on-3, takes it anyway. Eric Jensen had it for just a moment. Grigsby ends up coming up with it, and that's a foul on Torrance Bayless. So Juarez probably would have been better served to just pull that one out. Like I said, 1-on-3 with momentum. Don't need to rush a shot like that. Plenty of time, 6:09 remaining. Grigsby across the timeline. Caswell from behind, knocked the ball away. He's going to pick up his second personal foul, however. 5th team foul on the Bulldogs. And at this point, North Central is doing a good job of just breaking that pressure and then setting up the offense. But at some point, they need to make the Bulldogs pay for continuing to press. If you break that pressure and have numbers, you got to get in there and score and put the Bulldogs on their heels a little bit. And here you go. Here's the trap. Rajan tries to split it, and he walked with it. And Jay Weber wants to talk it over. Head coach of North Central, understanding how delicate this situation is here with 5:50 left to go. And North Central starting to struggle with that trap. Bulldogs like to turn D into O, and if they're going to come back from 7 down here, they're going to have to do it pretty quick here. So North Central had a back and forth game all of yesterday. So they're used to whatever situation they face here down the stretch. Mount Vernon, they were down. They were down big. They were down 12 points with the game winding down to Auburn before putting on a tear to get back into the ball game and forcing overtime. Got a little lucky with some free throws, and in the tournament, you got to get some luck somewhere. Bayless looking for Caswell. And Eric Jensen's shot, again, no good. Howenstein, rugged on the boards. Howenstein now with 8 rebounds in the game. Rajan had it knocked away, and a jump ball. Well, close to a 3-second violation there as well. Possession arrow will give to North Central. 5:23 left to go. A reminder, winner of this game takes on Bellevue or Bainbridge. Winner in our last quarterfinal game of the night. Rajan to the bucket, pulls it all the way out. Grigsby has had a great game on offense and defense, really working the boards. 8 points in the game, but does so much more for his team. Plager to Rajan. Double team from Juarez and Caswell. And Juarez will pick up the foul. His second personal. Juarez with 22 yesterday, just 11 in this game. And for a guy that averages 20 a game, Mount Vernon is really missing those last 9 points. 6 team fouls on Mount Vernon. Next one will put North Central shooting 1-1. So impressed, the cool heads from North Central, a team that has not led and had to run clock a lot this season in the GSL. Plager will try it. 3-pointer, and they'll discuss it. Looked like his toe was clearly on the line, and a good job by the officials conferring there and deciding it was in fact a 2-point field goal. Nonetheless, a big hoop for the Indians to extend the lead back up to 9. So North Central just 4 wins in the GSL League this year. Have had a good run down the tournament with district as well as state. and look like a team poised at the end of a game like they've been here all season long, leading every game when it came down to the wire. That has not been the case. But exceptional toughness mentally for these guys to come out here and do the job as if it was their random schedule or their regular schedule. 4:27 left to go. And Juarez short. 1 for 4 on the afternoon now from the line. And 1 of 5 now. Here's Grigsby. Doesn't force it. Ball was tipped, however, and Rajan breaks it again. Rajan has done everything for this North Central team. Credit guys like Howenstein as well. And Rajan from the corner. He is feeling it like butter. Nick Rajan and Plager with the steal. Grigsby on the break. Had it rim out. And I'm not one to judge, but that was a phantom call. Looked like no contact at all. Crowd hates it. Has to be expected, but Grigsby will go to the free throw line and try to get two a little harder than what was an easy lay-in. And I don't know if you could catch a glimpse of that. Nick Rajan talking with Caswell in the backcourt as Grigsby makes on the first. And you could read his lips. That was a terrible call, is what he just said. So Rajan is feeling it, but also feeling for Mount Vernon there as a tough call goes against the Bulldogs. 3:48 remaining here. And two big free throws. Grigsby, the senior, showing strong in his last chance at a state tourney. Juarez drives to the lane. And that pressure forced full court now. Got to get it over. 10 seconds. A long pass from Howenstein. Tipped away by Bayless. And out of bounds. Well, Mount Vernon, 3 state titles in 3A for them. Most recently in 2001. North Central made the state tournament last year for the first time in over 50 seasons. But looking strong again. And when you look at that, last year, tough run as guys like Eric Beal and Damal Neal played exceptionally well down the stretch for them. 2 Indians that have since graduated. Rajan sneaks open underneath. And that is big. Lead up to 14 now. And the Indians last season, as Caswell's shot no good, foul underneath on Eric Jensen. Last year, first round, the Indians faced O'Day. And O'Day took them out 65-64. A tough loss there for the Indians. But they fought back. Squalicom went down. Mount Rainier went down. And eventually West Valley. Indians finished 5th place in the state tournament. Not bad for your first time in over 50 years to the state tournament. Funny enough, though, back in 4A is what they used to be before the 50s. 3 appearances in the state tournament were pretty profitable for the Indians. 1928, back when the tournament was initially played at UW, the North Central Indians were victors. They won a state title in 28. They also won one in 1930 and 1948. Not that any of these players would remember that. Under 3 minutes now. Caswell, no good off the glass. North Central continues the defense. And a technical foul call. Torrey Swanson not liking the calls he's seen the last 4 minutes plus. And a technical foul called on him. And that's the last thing the Indians need at this point. So North Central looking to go to the state semifinals. It was another GSL team, the Ferris Saxons, who were 4A state title holders this season, 2007, a week ago, down at the Tacoma Dome. Able to come up victors over the Kent Ridge Chargers in the championship game to bring the state tournament title back to Spokane. First title for Ferris since 1994, I believe. And North Central is trying to bring the 3A title back as well. If it was to happen, I did some research back into the WIAA history books. Never before has a Spokane team won 4A and 3A in the same season. So half that job is done, and the other half is being attempted by the North Central Indians. They're putting together a Cinderella story to remember. Starters on the floor for North Central. They played most of the game tonight. Not an exceptionally deep team. Grigsby had it poked away by Caswell, and Caswell will pick up the foul. His third foul, and Mount Vernon's 10th will send the Indians to the free throw line, shooting double bonus all the way out, and things are starting to look a bit bleak for the Bulldogs. 2:33 left to go, and the Indians lead by 17. Well, a reminder, this game and many others from the tournament, 2 from the first round, 2 from this quarterfinal round, all 4 semifinals, and the state championship games will be available for DVD copies at GameTapes.com. All but the 2 championships are available on demand, free with Comcast digital cable. So get on there, check it out. You can actually see 2 other North Central games from the Greater Spokane season. And I believe the Groovy Shoes game available on there. So that's a great one to get out there. All those Spirit games, had a chance to go visit some of those in Spokane. Unlike anything else you'll see, just a gym packed with crazy fans who are there for the game, but they're there just as much to cheer their backsides off and win the Spirit Award. And it's pretty exciting to get out there and watch, something I strongly suggest doing in Spokane. Javier Grigsby with 11 points on the night. Grigsby had 5 yesterday, 12 thus far today. So everybody coming up big for the Indians. Justin Anderson a little quieter tonight with just 4. He had 12 to get him to this point with the big win yesterday. So it's been an entirely team effort. Guys like Hallenstein with officially 9 rebounds. I've got him in double digits myself. And every time that ball comes off on the defensive glass, he's gotten those tree trunk arms up for the board. Rajan will head to the line. 28 points in the game. Making our job selecting a Banner Bank player of the game pretty easy. 3 for 5 from the line with that miss. 5 for 9 from the three-point arc in today's game, and just seemed to come up with them when the Indians needed it. Bulldogs would fight back a little bit, and in the corner, Rajan would knock down a 3. There it is, Hallenstein, another board. Hallenstein's a guy that can put up 3s too. Hasn't had to do it today. Well, you can bet they're going to need his scoring. They're going to need Rajan and Grigsby and Anderson and everybody on the bench, if you will. Next round is they'll take on the winner of Bellevue and Bainbridge. That game will be available on Comcast on demand as well, and to be played after this one tonight. So going to need a little bit of everything out there. They'll need a little bit of everything if they could get through that one in this Cinderella run for the Indians. So with the win, North Central will go to 10-17 overall on the year. And unfair to judge that, as most of those games have gone against 4A opponents. Once they've taken on the 3A opponents in the district tournament as well as here in state, they've fared pretty well. And a foul once again coming back down this way. So North Central had to go through the GSL first, and there was 3 3A teams in the Greater Spokane League, if you're unfamiliar with that league. Started it off with a play-in game to the championship against East Valley, won that 64-47 handily. Then the championship game, beat a Mount Spokane team that had beaten them twice already in the year, including earlier that week. And that was a crucial game. What that did was give a first-round bye in the district tournament to North Central. And what that meant was after they lost to West Valley in that district tournament in double OT, a gut-wrenching loss, they still had another shot at it. They waited for a few games to be played, and then they took on West Valley again for the second seed coming out of the Eastern Regional, and they knocked them down. So they played their way into it, and since they've been here, they've shown that they belong. Win in the first round, win in the quarterfinals with this victory over the Bulldogs today. Down to 1:54 on the clock, and Ben Scott's free throw rims out. And if this victory stands, which it certainly looks like it will, lead up to 22 now. One more game to a state championship final. An unbelievable run for a team that had just 4 wins all season through their league. Four block shots in the first half for North Central, and haven't had to do so much on the defensive end and matter of blocking shots in this second half. Really, the reason for that has been better attacking defense on the perimeter, not allowing the Bulldogs guards to get to the lane and get easy buckets. And it's been an all-around exceptional ball game for the Indians. Bench is clear now. Let me get you up to date on who's in the floor, and some of these guys getting their last bit of high school action. And certainly a night to remember. Jeremy Gordon, along with Matt Woodard, the junior post for Mount Vernon. Brandon Mendoza with the ball, junior as well. So some of the youth getting in there. Kyle Eaton, the senior, number 15. And the Bulldogs will look to get Eaton a bucket. They'll try a deep three and knock it down. Well, Kyle Eaton, a senior leader on this team, doesn't get a lot of playing time, but hits a big, deep three in the state tournament. That's something he'll remember. Good one to end his career on in this one here. So 20-point advantage still for North Central. North Central and Mount Vernon both staying the night, so another night to be stayed as Mount Vernon will live to play another day, albeit it in the losers bracket of this state tournament. North Central moves on to the semifinals to be played tomorrow night at 9 o'clock here at Heck Ed. For Mount Vernon, I believe their game is tomorrow night. And let's see. They'll play in the 2 o'clock game tomorrow against the loser of Bellevue and Bainbridge, and have a chance to fight for that 5th and 6th place. Some of the bench of North Central into the game now. Guys that have worked exceptionally hard all season long. You love to see them come in and get some credit in the stat sheet as well. You just can never put into words what these guys mean to a ball club. Colton Young almost had a board there. The 6'4" senior. A little humorously listed as 7'4" in the guide here. So the 6'4" senior. He's on the floor with David Butler, the junior. It's like Robbie Hatch, Sam Schaefer, and Tim LaMotta got on the scoreboard at the other end. 1:18 left to go. And Young rips down that inbound play. Both teams returning quite a few guys, Mount Vernon especially. They'll lose Jeremy Juarez next season, but they'll return an excellent cast to battle for another state tourney. And now back to the 3A classification, a powerhouse they've been and a powerhouse they're trying to return to. This three from Eaton off the mark. 1 minute and 1 second left to go, and really poor shooting has been what's dug Mount Vernon in a hole this afternoon. 15 for 52 on the game. Just a horrendous shooting night, as it seemed nothing would fall. They did turn North Central over 14 times, but Mount Vernon only gave up the ball 5 times on the night. So handled it exceptionally well, but when you can't hit shots, you just can't win ball games. That foul, the 6th team foul on North Central. It'll turn around Jay from Matt Woodard. And Ben Scott comes back, hard foul there. And that'll send DJ Scott to the free throw line. And Scott, the senior, calmed down a little bit by Torrey Swanson on the sideline. No need to get chippy here with 47.9 left to go. So 28 points for Nick Ryjon, 10 for 16 from the field, including 5 of 9 from behind the arc. 3 rebounds as well, and an exceptional job breaking the Mount Vernon pressure that was put on and put on hard in the entire second half. Loose ball underneath, no good from Schaefer. So the Bulldogs, a chance to close it out. And Mendoza with the drive. Under 30 seconds now. And that foul will send back to the line Tim LaMotta, 5'9" senior. So North Central loses 2 key starters, only returned 1 starter from last year's team. And an unbelievable run when you really look at that and look at the factor that everybody was fresh. And a lot of the reason why it took a while for these guys to get together and gel. But when it mattered, they're absolutely peaking at the right time of the season. Peaked at the GSL Championship, won the 3A tourney. Peaked to get the 2nd seed out of the district, the Eastern Regional. And peaking to win their first 2 games in the state tournament in 2007. They'll head to the semifinals to try to make it 3 in a row and see if the glass slipper continues to fit. Crowd chanting, "We want Bainbridge now." Be careful what you wish for. 20 ticks to go. And Mount Vernon won't foul here. Just some strong pressure. Eaton looks for the steal. And now down to 8, 7, 6. So the North Central Indians, victors in the quarterfinals over the Bulldogs of Mount Vernon. Final score, 58-44. A 14-point win for the Spokane 3A squad out of the GSL, and they'll head to the semifinals. Their opponent will be determined coming up next. We'll take a quick break here, be down with our Banner Bank player of the game. You're watching Varsity Sports on Comcast On Demand.
Get Local On Demand captures the essence of Northwest living. Connect to your community with local personalities.
See, I'm going to improve your looks here, Joe.
Cultural and artistic festivals, favorite time-honored events, and more. Plus, learn the secrets of your favorite local chefs with cooking shows on demand. Local programming on your schedule. Just press On Demand on your digital remote, then Get Local. Only with Comcast Digital Cable.
Castro with it. He takes it to the rack. And D'Angelo Castro with the slam. Go get it. That one count.
The Varsity News, throwing down every Wednesday night exclusively on Comcast On Demand.
Welcome back to the floor here at Heck-Ed Pavilion, and a smiling face, Nick Rajon, our Banner Bank player of the game. Nick, 28 points. You couldn't miss tonight. What was the difference?
I didn't want to go home. I want to play Bainbridge. I mean, they got the best player in this tournament basically, and I really wanted to play them. I mean, everything is a challenge, and I want to play them. And our team, unfortunately, played really well tonight.
Now, throughout the season, you guys have played a lot of 4A teams, played against the likes of Ferris and company. Obviously, Ferris, pretty good team, wins the 4A title. Do you feel like that sort of thing has really prepared you? I mean, you guys are looking like a very experienced and poised team here.
Well, the whole starting lineup that's in this year is from our last year's state team. So, yeah, but the whole GSL thing, yeah, it did help prepare us because the teams over there were really tough. The only thing that really is different now is that we've figured out how to win games. We've got over the hump because earlier in the season we weren't able to get over the hump and actually win a game. You know what I mean?
So 2 big victories here in our Banner Bank player of the game. Once again, congratulations and good luck in the semifinal. I know you guys will stick around and watch this one, see who your opponent is.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you go. Once again, our Banner Bank player of the game, Nick Rajon, with 28 points. And the North Central Indians move on to the state semifinals. Well, for us here in Banner Bank, who's a proud sponsor of all local high school heroes, both on the court and on the gridiron, thanks for making us proud. And thanks for watching tonight. Myself, John Billings, and all of our crew here at Heck-Ed Pavilion. Thank you and good night.